Kia ora te whānau, nau mai hoki mai, ngā mihi o te tauhou. 2021, let's get it. I wanted to start off by thanking everyone that's followed me through my journey thus far, through YouTube or through Instagram. I do appreciate you watching my videos and hopefully absorbing some content that you might find value in. If you didn't already know, I do live here in Melbourne, Australia, and we had a transition back to the office towards like the October-November period. So I was able to take a bit of a step back from YouTube and everything like that. And also over the holiday season, so Christmas, New Year's, I was really able to switch off, which was quite nice. But more importantly, during that period where I hadn't been posting any videos, it was genuinely coming down to a place where I didn't have as much energy or as much hope or as much I guess I wasn't as interested in investing or making money or anything like that. I think there was more prevalent problems or prevalent things that were happening in the economy, not only here in Australia or New Zealand, but worldwide as well. So I took a step back, but now I'm definitely ready to get my hands dirty and get into 2021. Today's video is just going to discuss, we're just going to discuss a few goals that I like to set, not only for myself or for the channel, but also providing a bit more awareness of what this year may look like from like a financial point of view. So some things that I will discuss are things like increasing income, decreasing expenses, making smart investments. And if you know, I'm looking down, I'm looking at my little, they don't have 1B5s over here. I've got a 64, they call it. Yeah, just starting to take some notes instead of doing everything electronically. Enjoying how I build wealth, continuous learning, and finding a sustainable balance of interest. And that comes down to the whole, in order for you to really enjoy or for you to really build wealth, or say if you wanted to get like a nice physique and you wanted to, I don't know, eat healthy or clean eating, all that kind of stuff, you've got to enjoy it. At the end of the day, if you don't enjoy it, then you're not going to be able to achieve the results that you, or the goals that you set. So let's start there and let's see how we go. So the first one is increasing income. Now, I remember when I first moved over here, I moved to Brisbane in 2013 and got a job working at a bank and doing home loans. And part of the assessment was if a client was unable to borrow the amount of money they wanted to purchase a property, then I would go through scenarios of which ways they can try increase their borrowing capacity. And that conversation would typically be pay off your credit card, pay off your personal loan, decrease your expenses, because increasing your income is next to impossible. So obviously I was completely wrong. There's so many ways, especially in today's day and age, and I'm sure back then as well, where increasing your income is actually something that is definitely achievable, whether it be by a couple of dollars or a couple of tens or hundreds of $1,000s with the amount of small businesses and side hustles and other things that people have started and really made their own. So increasing my income for 2021 is certainly something that I would like to achieve, and that can be from simply going to my boss and asking for a pay rise. I know not everyone is fortunate enough to be able to do that. However, understanding your value in that business and how much you give to that company, having that conversation and letting them know this is how much you value yourself, and as long as they respect that as well, then that conversation may be something positive, or obviously they'll just give you a backhand and then you carry on with the rest of your day. The second one would be from dividends. So that's from investments that do pay dividends, sometimes quarterly, 6 monthly, or annually. So typically they are quarterly if they are American. So dividends can be paid from a share or a stock that you hold within a company. They would typically pay them out to you, because 9 times out of 10, the reason why they pay you a dividend is because they've got over an excess amount of money that they don't want to reinvest into the business. So instead of doing that, they want to reward their shareholders or stakeholders. So they pay out dividends, and some companies would pay out a dividend between 1 to possibly 3 or even higher % yield on an annual basis. So dividends, side hustles or small businesses. So there are a lot of, I think especially with COVID and everything like that, with how 2020 went, there's been a lot more opportunity for people to start their own side hustles, small businesses, and that could even be something post-COVID with things like Uber Eats driver or Uber driver. Like, you can do these small part-time roles, casual roles, in conjunction with your full-time employment. It's definitely not for everyone, and not everyone has the same circumstance. However, it's not like it's unachievable. Everyone's got the 24 hours in the one day. It's what you do with that time is entirely up to you. And then the last one. So, well, for me, when I talk about like YouTube or Instagram, it's unlikely. Actually, I won't say that. It's not something that motivates me to make money from YouTube or have an Instagram page that has X amount of followers, etc. It's not a motivator for me. The motivator for me, and you might have heard it from my previous videos for creating the channel, is starting my own business as a mortgage broker back in New Zealand. So time frames or what that all looks like, it's certainly something that's down the track. However, setting goals for 2021, I'm hoping this time next year I'll be able to provide you with an update. The next one is decreasing expenses. So again, it's not something achievable for everybody. However, there are certain things that you can cut on. So for me personally, 2020 was certainly a year that allowed me to not spend as much money as I usually would, ultimately through like recreation and entertainment. So that would be like alcohol, going to bars, eating out, I guess all those, not unnecessary, because it's always good for your well-being to socialize and be around people. And again, that's what last year showed us. Having the responsibility to understand what your short-term or long-term goals are and say, well, if in order for me to achieve those, what expenses do I need to cut down? So maybe you go from a gym membership that's $70 a fortnight to a gym membership at a local club, maybe $10 a week or something like that. You might want to understand how much you spend on groceries on a weekly, fortnightly basis, and then in addition to that, how many times you're zipping to like the dairy or to Foursquare, or all those little expenses really do add up. And another thing about decreasing expenses as well is that yes, there is going to be a fine line between like risk and reward, or the sacrifices that you are willing to make. So if this short-term or long-term goal, say it's to buy a property, say it's to pay off your personal loan, say it's to pay off a credit card debt, if that is true to you and you find value in saying, look, I'm going to have a lot more headspace if I do pay out that debt. If the sacrifice is that, yes, you only go out once a month and you do that for a whole year, as long as it all fits within your values and what you find valuable yourself, then just go for it. At the end of the day, it's your decision. So understanding that in order to completely or to achieve financial wealth or financial freedom, it's certainly not going to be an easy ride. The next one's making smart investments. I guess do as I say, not as I do. I think with 2020, there were definitely times where I was able to find an attractive company only because of the type of the kind of environment that we're in, or the economic climate that we're in last year, knowing full well exactly what this company can achieve within the next 12 months as opposed to what it can achieve over the next 10 years. So making smart investments doesn't just mean investing in the right company, but also it can be like smart investments can be something as simple as you want to start a side hustle. So instead of doing drop shipping, which everybody does under the sun, or you actually don't make as much money as what they do say in YouTube videos, you might want to do something like upcycling, which involves getting an old drawer or old cabinet or something like that, and you sand it back and you make it nice and colorful, or appealing, or modern, I guess, and then selling that on like Facebook Marketplace or Trade.me or what have you. So making smart investments to me is making them a bit more calculated, so understanding the reasons why, and really having full ownership of that investment that you do make. This one's my favorite, enjoying how I build wealth. So again, as I went off the radar, I did look at a few other investment opportunities, but also other hobbies and other ways that people are making money. And one of the big ones was sports cards. So for me, I play quite nerdy. I play in like an NRL fantasy, I play in an NBA fantasy, NFL. Like, I love sports. Anything to do with sports, I just love everything about it. So there's a hobby that's been going for long generations before my time. The one that's been most present for me is collecting NBA cards. So that would be immersing myself into like the community that is NBA, and because I love the sport so much and understanding that I can actually make money from holding certain cards that will increase in value based on the performance of a player. There's so many intricacies of the sport and how the value of the cards work and the environment and the community that is available to all NBA fans and admirers of the sport. So enjoying how I build wealth is something I certainly want to look into this year, and I'm sure there will be a few videos that I will release during 2021. It's not going to be limited to NBA cards, because I know that there has really bad stigma about cryptocurrency. Even myself, if I think back in 2017, it certainly was a buzzword where everyone wanted to get in, and then obviously 2018, 2019 happened, and the naysayers were correct, I guess, in a way. But with the economy that we are currently in, and with the dollar value slowly decreasing, looking at alternative ways to hold value outside of currency, outside of the standard currency being US dollars, New Zealand dollars, Aussie dollars, etc. Cryptocurrency is definitely an interesting investment that I want to look into, and it's more just for me to gain more knowledge about it instead of being on the outside and laughing at the people on the inside, because now it's kind of flipped. And I just want to know more about that environment and what that looks like. And the final one I have, continuous learning and finding a sustainable balance of interest. It really allows me to enjoy what I do, and that is just represented with everything that's around me as well. So that's, again, family, friends, money, income, employment, everything that falls into this fun thing that we call life, and making sure that I stay interested, that I have, continue to grow a passion for what I do. So that's, again, me setting goals for 2021. Tell me a bit more about what goals that you are setting yourself for 2021. It can be money related, it can be personal goals, it can be as simple as I want to run a kilometer. I don't know, it may be I want to learn how to fix my car instead of having to take it to the shop, or do an oil change or something like that. So leave any questions in the comment section below. I know that this video is a little bit discombobulated. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think for me, in order to enjoy what I do when it comes to YouTube and a few topics and content that I can find value in, that hopefully I can share with yourselves, is more just speaking from the top of the dome instead of doing complete analytical data research. So hopefully you did enjoy today's video. I'm sure the next one would definitely be a lot more enjoyable, and there'd be a lot more substance for you to take out of it. However, to learn a bit more from me as a content creator, I'm sure that I'll be able to keep that relationship open, and for you to continue to enjoy, share, like all that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching, and until next time, ka kite.